Hey, what's up guys? Christian over at Fit Car Stereo. So today we got a pair of Kicker KSS 650 component speakers in front of me. We're about to install them in a Volkswagen Atlas, and we're going to show you everything step by step. Alright guys, so step one is removing the plastic lock at the bottom of your door. A lot of you guys probably didn't even know this existed. Actually, I'd say most of you guys didn't know this existed. So instead of using screws, Volkswagen added this little plastic thing. So when it's set this way, it prevents the door from opening, and when you set it this way, it allows it to go through. So what we're going to do right now, actually the other way. Yeah, this way locks, and yeah, I got it right. So it's basically a quarter turn. I'm going to turn it this way. 10 millimeter. And so now when it's up and down, just got to line it with the hole. So it's the same hole. All right. All right, step number two is to remove this little tiny cover. So the plastic panel tools don't have enough of a lip to get in there. So what I found the easiest way is to grab a Phillips flathead. So I usually use a little flathead. The key is to push it in. So don't just go in here right at the edge. Dig it in, and then turn. So, and as you're turning, pull. So what you're doing is you're technically marring this up, but you're not marring up anything that's visible, which is very important because I see a lot of these where people, you could tell, have had problems with it, and it's all scratched up. All right, so now hiding behind the piece of plastic is a T30 Torx. So I'm gonna grab my Torx bit. So just so I can mention this is a screw gun. This isn't a drill gun. So this is basically an electronic screwdriver. So especially when you're putting things back in, just be very careful, because if you go in with a drill gun, it's much more powerful and it causes problems. And as always, when you're tightening, always start them by hand. So let me show you real quick. All right, so now I'm going to take the bit out of here. Oops. So I'm going to go back in here, and when you go to put it back in, always do it slowly by hand, because if it grows in crooked, you can feel it with your fingers and stop when you feel the resistance. If you do it with a gun, now you cross-threaded everything, and now it's a headache. Next step is to remove this door panel. This door panel pops right off. If you work out a lot, you might be able to pull it right off. But me, I need a little help. So I'm going to grab my panel tool, and I am going to wedge it between the car. There you go. And the door panel. All right. Our panel tools have this X on the back, so I always put that towards this way so you don't scratch up the paint. And also make sure your panel tool is semi-new, because if you have a tool that's been in your toolbox for 20 years, it's going to scratch something up. Okay? And then we're going to shove this little airbag in here. I fold it in two to get better leverage. Okay, you want to go about halfway, a little more than halfway. All right? And then we're going to just it. So at this point, you can help it out. So at this point, we're wide enough where you can get your fingers in there. So especially this panel. All right, so this, you're just gonna push to the quick. So very important right now, make sure that this right here is not stuck. Some cars have two of them. All right, so I had to cut filming because as I crossed from one side to another, I don't know where it was hanging out. So I actually just remembered I have an Atlas door. When we designed our tweeter adapter, I figured it was better to have a door here so I can take my time designing it properly. And also, if I build other sizes for other speakers, I have the door for testing to figure out the depth and stuff. So here's a door. This comes in handy because guys can actually look at it and see where all the panel poppers are. So this is a mirror. This is actually the passenger side. So as it's laid out,
the driver's side. So as it's laid out is where the poppers are. So if you look over here, this breaks. There's one over here. There's one right about here. There's another one here. Then you get down to the bottom, you got two over there. And then on the other side, you got one in the corner, and then they go up the side. So it'd be a good idea for you to maybe pause and screenshot this, so when you're ripping it out in your car, you actually have a visual of where they're at. They're exactly the same on both sides, so that's it. Let's go finish ripping off this door.
All right, so now we got that side popped open. You're just gonna come over here, and you're just gonna pull. Give it a little wiggle. All right, there goes that. There goes one, two more.
All right, now these two top ones are the tough ones because they kind of feel like they're not going to come out. So you're just going to see, pop that one out. And then over here, pop that one out.
All right, so now that we got all the poppers popped out, you got to take this thing out. Kind of you got to unplug. You don't really need to take it out, but you can't really unplug it while it's in. So here's a little tip. You have to push it in from here, from the inside, and it allows you to pop it out. So we're gonna put my thumb in here. All right, and then gonna help it from the front. All right, it comes right out. So what you're doing is this little spring, you're putting tension on it in order to release it, and then once it's out, you just push the locking tab and pops right out. Now we gotta lift up the door. But we still have to remove this. I technically... No, I can't. I was thinking that... Oh, that really flopped. Can I do this? Okay, so I can definitely take this off from back here. But that's not going to help you guys. I know how to do it. So, this is the same in pretty much every Volkswagen and Audi. So I can do this without even looking at it. But that's not going to teach Wayne. So what we're going to do now is we're going to lift upward. All right. This is a lot easier if you're standing in front of the door. I'm doing it from the side to show you this. So now that that's up and out of the way, this is up and out of the way, and then the only thing that's left, see if we can finagle this. Ooh, look at that spin. Reminds me of like 90s basketball. All right, let me make sure the camera's good, and I'll be right back. All right, so just make sure it's not hitting the door. Honestly, you shouldn't flip around like I did. You should just reach in behind it. It actually helps if you have a second person with a flashlight, just aiming below. What I just did, just be careful because you don't want to flex this too much and then you end up breaking it. But taking it off is easy. All you do is pull back on this, lift up, and it comes right out. That's it. And then to put it back in, you put that little tip inside the hole, and then you push it back in. Push it's not the right. Push it back in. So let's take it off again. Boom, and boom. That's it. That's how you take off the door panel. This is your factory speaker. Make sure the connections. First thing you do is unplug it. When you look at the connections over here, make sure they're the same as a speaker adapter, meaning the pin out. As you can see, there's 4 pins in here, four slots, but only 2 of them are filled. Your front speakers have different wiring configurations. That's why our speaker adapters come to different. You have different part numbers for front and rear. So now you have to drill this out. This is in here with a with rivets. Rivets are nice. You put them in, you squeeze them, and it locks them in place. The bad part about them is you can't undo them and redo them. So, and then also you need a special tool to do them, which most people don't have. If you're really handy, you have a rivet gun, but most, I say 60% of you guys don't. So these are 3/16 drill bits. Do yourself a favor, go to the local cheap hardware store and get cheap drill bits. These are 3/16. Don't use the ones that come in your expensive set because you're gonna chew them up. All right. So I'm gonna show you. Oh, most important thing of this whole video: make sure your window is all the way up. Because if your window's not all the way up, you're gonna run into problems. So I'm gonna show you the top one first. So you're gonna put pressure. Make sure pressure is very important. You're gonna do a couple little drills, and then you're just gonna go in. And one didn't work out as planned. Let's try the other one. They don't always go in straight. That happens sometimes. It depends on the material. That happened last time. Actually, this happened last time I did the Atlas. The rears didn't come out right. The fronts came out perfect. See, that's what's supposed to happen. That comes out like that. Let's just go back into the fronts. All right, so be very careful because the little round things that are on your drill bit, you're going to want to take them out, but they're hot, so let them cool off first. Now you took out your factory speakers, new speakers aren't going to drop right in. You need a speaker adapter to adapt your factory opening to accept the new speakers. So this adapter does two things. Not only does it hold the speaker in place, it also is designed in a way that allows you to install bigger speakers into your door. The factory speakers are 5 1/4. This allows you to install 6 1/2 speaker without modifying your door at all. If you go on our website, we have speaker sealing foam. What this does is that this is a little strip that gets attached to the back of the speaker adapter. So when you attach it to the door, it creates a seal. The speaker uses your door as some sort of speaker box, so the less air that comes out, the better. All right, some of you guys are going to add sound deadener to the doors. Now, what sound deadener does is when your bass hits, it keeps your panels from vibrating, giving you better bass. So the more you add, the better. But since it costs money, you know, you have to decide how much you want to add. At bare minimum, we always recommend you do a little bit around the speaker, and then when you cut out the hole, put that in the back. That's bare minimum. So first thing you want to do is clean off the surface. So I'm going to spray a little alcohol here. And just make sure there's no oils or dust, and make sure it's dry before you try to apply it. So I've pre-cut this panel for the car. You just have to make sure. I took the clips off the door, put them on the car so I could see how big the holes needed to be. As long as the clips go in, the door panel's not going to hit. So you got to make sure you center it for the clips. All right, so now I'm going to attach it to the door. Make sure you clean the surface. Don't forget, that's very important. So I'm going to center this here. All right, I'm going to clip the top, and then see, you got to make sure that it lines up right. So that's good. That's good. All right, so now we're going to hit it with a roller. I recommend you buy a roller. They're not that expensive. Some people are going to sit there and say, I'm only going to use it once. But what's the point of doing all this work if it's not going to do what it needs to do? Right? Like especially like right here. Right here, you want to make sure this gets in there and it's touching the car. All right, so I'll finish rolling it, but as you can see, it's perfectly cut. Well, not perfect, because this could have been lower, this could have been higher, but it's not going to interfere with the door clips. All right, now we're going to cut out the middle. I'm using a brand new razor blade. It's funny, stuff is so good, it's kind of hard to tell where it starts. So now what you want to do is you want to make sure the inside is clean. Oops. And at bare minimum, put this directly behind the speaker. Now guys, I recommend you get another sheet and do a little bit more in the back, but if you're just looking to do the bare minimum, that's the bare minimum. So to make the holes for the speakers, to make the holes for the screws, just go from the back and poke out, and that gives you a guide hole, and then you can come in here and make it a little bit bigger.
All
right, now it's time to attach the speaker adapter to the door. Because we used the sound treatment on the door, we do not need the foam that is on here. So it's either one or the other, not both. If you do both, there's no reason to it. It's not going to accomplish anything. Now, the screws that we send with, so some of our kits come with screws. If it doesn't come with the screw, you can buy them separately. So our screws are stainless steel, so they will not rust in the door. Number two, the nut comes with a, probably you can't see it because it's too far, comes with a plastic lock in it. So as soon as it hits the plastic, it keeps it from falling out in the door. Our speaker adapter has a hole for the speaker wires, so you're going to make sure that always goes towards the center of the door on the side. The top is too far, and the bottom, you may have some water issues, so you want to keep it that way. All right. So I'm going to put the screw inside the adapter. Our adapter, as you can tell, the mounting screws are built into the ring. That's what allows you to do a bigger speaker, because if it wasn't built into the ring, you could only fit a 5 1/4. You're going to drop it in there. All right, so you're going to put it in the hole. You can use your finger or a screwdriver to hold it in. Push it in. And by hand, you're going to tighten the screw. Now, at a certain point, it's going to stop once it hits the plastic. At that point, you move on and you do the rest of them. And as you have all four in, you're going to go in with a 7mm. Grab it from the back. And using a screwdriver, don't use your gun because you're going to crack the speaker adapter. And if you tell me it's a piece of junk, I can't warranty it because it just means you over-tighten it. All right, tighten it so it's snug. See the speaker, the foam kind of came out a little bit. That's perfect. So now do the rest of them. Next part of the install is the speaker wiring. These are made specifically for the car. So the front and the rear use different wiring. Same connector, but just different pinouts. So make sure you use the right one. You're going to put the red one through first. It's going to be tight. And then you put the black one in. All right. Now, if you guys like to do that fancy tape, which looks beautiful, but just make sure do that after you plug everything in, because our speaker hole, our hole is so small, so that way you can use a minimum amount of glue for less chance of failure. So if you put too much tape on it, it might not be able to go in and might mess with your install. This is a rubber speaker guard. It accomplishes two things. So when you put it in, it protects your speaker from water because your speaker door is not sealed. So water does drip in when you roll up and roll the window up and down. So this keeps the water from falling on the speaker, protecting your investment. It also creates a seal between the speaker adapter and the speaker. And this outside little wing creates a seal between your door and the speaker, so none of the sound gets lost in the door. It all comes into your car's cabin. If you buy the bag of screws from us, they come with the perfect screws for our speaker adapter. So just want to go in a couple clicks, drop that in there, stretch the cover around the screw, and then hold it in place. Makes your install a lot easier. The rear doors of Bass Audio Atlas did not come with tweeters. Now, you have the option. You can add speakers that have a separate tweeter and a crossover, or you can just add a speaker that has a tweeter built in the middle. Obviously, the speakers with a separate tweeter are going to sound better. Now, if you're doing a regular speaker that doesn't have a separate tweeter, just plug it in and drill it in. In our case, we're doing a component set that has a 6.5-inch mid bass and a separate tweeter. All right, this is the crossover that comes with the Kicker KSS 650s. Now, if you buy the kit from us, which includes the speaker, the adapters, and the wiring, we actually take this crossover out of the Kicker box and we add the factory connector specific for your car directly into it. If you're just buying the rings from us, it comes with the adapter you just saw, and you just have to hardwire everything yourself. It's not that hard, but obviously this is easier. That's not where we're mounting the crossover. I just have it tucked there real quick. So these are the leads that go to the speaker. These come like that from the factory. We don't touch these. They're going to go in here. Like I said, it's going to be a little tight. If it has a rubber surrounding on it, you're going to take it off. So that goes to the speaker. This plugs in to the factory wiring, and this plugs into the tweeter. Let me wire it up, and I'll come right back. All right, so the speaker has two different connections on it. One's positive, one negative. They're different sizes, so it's impossible for you to wire it backwards. So just plug that in. Like I said, always keep the speaker wires to the bottom. Now, if you remember correctly, we put a speaker in, or a screw in to hold the baffle in place. You can actually fold the baffle back to keep it out of your way. All right, before I had told you that to put a screw at the top, I made a mistake. The screw belongs at the bottom. Now, I folded this back in order to give me room. Don't forget to fold it forward because there's nothing. It keeps your speaker warm there. So you're going to drop your speaker on the bottom screw. All right. Also make sure it's fully in, because if you put it too tight, it's gonna land on the side of the screw. That's no good. You're gonna grab another screw. You're gonna come in here. You're gonna look for the hole in the rubber speaker protector, and you're gonna put it in the second hole, and you just give it a little turn. I go 1, 2, 3. And I lost count. Make it snug. All right. Go over here. Make it a little more snug. Now you're just going to don't fully tighten it, because you want to make sure these are lined up. Usually once you got the first two, the other two line right up. But sometimes you do need to do a little wiggling to get it done. Once again, these are 3D printed. Don't go in with a drill gun. Do it manually. Once you feel it snug, that's when you're done. And just like tightening the bolts in your car, don't just go corner to corner. Don't go in a circle. Even though I just went in a circle. All right, and when you're done, bring out the speaker protector to protect the sound from escaping. And when you put these back on, also make sure that when you push in the door, it doesn't do this, because that does not going to do anything. So usually when you push in this door, you have to hold it like this to keep it from happening. All right, so this is the door wired up. Mounted across over there. There's plenty of room over there. I've mounted it other places before, but that is the safe spot. So we're going to wire the 3 wires together to bring them over here. This is going to the speaker. This is going to the connector. I put some anchors over here. They stick onto the door. 1, 2, 3. I put another one here to hold the connector so it doesn't rattle around. This goes to the door, and this goes up to the tweeter. All right, so the way this is set up is that they have these mounting holes that go 1, 2, and 3. And what they do is that
they melt it on and it holds the cover in place. When we do the tweeters, we use these 1, 2, 3 sticks. So we're just going to break this off. So the way I usually do it is I just grab like a flathead or something. Just go in there. Just pop it off. Just grab it at the corner. The most important thing is not to break those. If this is making you uncomfortable, go watch the other video. The other video will show you how to drill it like a proper human being. Ow. See, that wasn't that hard. But if that scares you and you're not confident, you can't get in there, just go follow the other video. You can drill it out with a drill gun. It's a lot neater. It's a lot cleaner. But to be honest with you, I've never... Drilling it with a drill is the first time I did it was for that video. This is the way I usually do it. All right, here's my tweeter adapter. I think it's a work of art. It fits right on those little stems, nice and pretty. And then you got to make sure the K is facing up or else it's not going to sound right. All right, so we're going to put this in here. It pressure fits perfectly. Look at that. You can, that's so satisfying. Just the sound of that is satisfying. All right, now that we got it there. So I don't have good lighting where my table's set up. So I'm just going to tell you right now, we're just going to put 1, 2, 3, just with a little hot glue. Just glue it down. And then that's it. All right, so now we're at the front door. The bottom of this door has the same plastic, quarter turn retainer, I guess you want to call it, that the back door has. But it also has like the molding in the door panel for a second one. So just make sure you don't have 2 of them. I think the Jetta has 2 of them. So I don't know if maybe certain years have 2, but just double check. Then we're going to remove this screw just like we did the back door. And then I'm going to pop off the door and probably going to show you how to take this off because it's going to be slightly different. All right, guys. So this door, I'm going to tell you the differences. So when you pop, this side pops. That top pop isn't a pop. So this over here is a lift. So don't try to pull. Once you unpop this one, so you see how we're loose over here? You're going to pull forward and lift up. Number 2, this over here, you can actually reach behind it and unplug it. And then once you get the panel out, pop it out so you can plug it back in easier. All right, so I'm going to reach my hand back here. And we're going to push on the lever. The lever faces towards me. You're going to push that way. And then you're going to pull down. And it comes right out. So like I said, because it unplugs, don't risk marring this up. So the difference between my videos and other people's videos is that a lot of people, not everybody, they make their videos for the views. I make my videos detailed to give you all the stupid information, which makes them boring to anyone who doesn't own this car. So do me a favor, help me out and give me a like. All right, here we go. So we're gonna pull back on this and then that gets lifted. So I'm gonna go over here. All right. There you go. It's always weird. It's all right. It's always weird. So now you're gonna go over here and you're gonna unplug the tweeter. See if you can reach around and get the tweeter beforehand, so you don't run into any issues. Okay. Tweeter squeezes. And then over here we have the same door panel. It comes off just like the one in the back. Oh, and I forgot. This door, I'm gonna put my foot down to hold it. Forgot about this. The front doors. The front doors have, let me readjust this. Guys. All right, guys. So, the door unlock, relock, and the window switches are all on one thing, which makes it easy to remove. So you see this little blue thing? You're gonna push it in, and you're gonna pull it up, and then pull straight out. It's very important, especially with those pins, is that you push it right in slowly, because if you go in crooked, you'll bend the pin, and then you're in for a tough time. That's your front door. First rule of speaker installation: make sure your window's rolled up. Last thing you want to do is break your window. So we're gonna unplug the sub, the mid bass, whatever you wanna call these. It's a two-hander. All right, that goes there. All right, now we're gonna use a brand new drill bit. I recommend, so you get the cheap drill bits. Well, I mean, if you're rich, get expensive drill bits, but use the cheap drill bits and switch them for every door, okay?
All right, there we go. This is why it's important to have your window up. All right, so I'm gonna let that cool off, and then I'm gonna go inside and get the things, get the parts that fell. Modify the sound treatment for the openings in the door. All right, so the front speaker adapter is very similar to the rear. Still has the hole, different shape. The rear takes 4 screws to bolt it to the door. This one takes 6. All right, front door is all done. Speakers in, speaker guard is in. The speaker wire got bunched up over here and then brought over here. Tweeter cable got wrapped around this box a couple times. This got bunched up over here. The factory connector got wrapped in the some leftover speaker foam. I mean sound treatment, and the connector for the tweeter, which is not used, is sandwiched between these 2 harnesses with a zip tie holding everything together. Ta-da! All right, now we have the tweeter for the front door. Now, when you look at this tweeter, this is the factory tweeter. The tweeter is mounted into a bracket, and then that bracket is attached to the door. So what we're going to do right now is going to pop off the tweeter and the bracket from the door. Don't try to take the tweeter out of the bracket, because that doesn't make any sense. Try to do it with this thing. Oh, no, I'm good with this. All right, so this is the savage way of doing it. Just like I showed you the back. This is the savage way of doing it. This is the way I always do it. If this scares you, check out my other video on the tweeter removal, where I use a drill and I drill it out the nice way. This is the savage way. All right, so the tweeter adapters here are the same ones in the back. They just drop right in. Wazam. Also, very important part of the install is to make sure they're right side up, because if you mount them upside down, your sound will come out upside down. All right, 3 little dabs of glue, and she's on. All right, so we're all done. And now we're going to do the other side, but we're not going to film that because it's the same thing. So check out the website. On the website, we have full speaker kits where we sell you the speaker, all the parts to install, and an amplifier. We can also sell you the speakers with all the parts to install just the speakers. And we also have the speaker installation parts all as a kit and separately. We also have the plug and play amplifier, and who knows what we're going to have in the future. Oh, the tweeter adapters are probably be my biggest seller, because you can't buy those anywhere else. But that's it. My name is Christian, NFIT Car Stereo. Also check out our amplifier installation videos. This is Christian, Unfit Car Stereo. Thank you so much for watching.